The words young and sporty are not really ones you'd associate with Mercedes too much, but the company hopes that this A-Class is going to change that. A quick glance at the styling out there will tell you this is definitely a car aimed at the younger driver, and sporty is one way to describe this car's ride. It is harsh and it thumps around even in a comfort setup. The smaller wheels do help slightly, but it's still quite bumpy. Despite this, the A-Class isn't that great a handling car either, and you get quite a bit of body roll when you go through the corners. You can get an A-Class with a quiet cabin, but to do so you need to go for one of the bigger, more expensive engines. If you go for one of the smaller ones, like this 200 CDI, you end up with a lot of engine noise, and there's also a fair bit of road noise as well. This cabin is more proof of Mercedes' youthful intentions. It's packed full of tech, and you get some wonderful little design touches like these vents which come from more expensive models. The only downside is this screen, which looks a bit like a tacked on afterthought. These seats, however, are brilliant. They're really comfortable and supportive, and they've got huge amounts of adjustment. You can go up and down really far, and you can get comfortable and find a decent driving position no matter what body size you are. At the back, this curve from the wheel arch and this swooping rear window line means that the door opening is actually not as big as it is on some of the car's premium rivals. So it's not quite as easy to get in. But once you're in, there's a good amount of space back here. Legroom's pretty good. Headroom, very impressive. But watch this, I can actually sit in the middle seat without bashing my head on the ceiling. So you can get 3 adults across the back on short journeys. At first glance, the A-Class's boot is not exactly massive, and that is not helped by this really quite narrow boot opening, which means you'll struggle to get wide things in and out with ease. Now in here, it's not very deep, it's quite short, but things get better if you look closer. There's a huge amount of underfloor storage here, and you've got handy nets all around to help you out a bit better. And this lip is quite nice and low, which means getting things in and out is quite easy. So the Mercedes A-Class is good to look at, and it is spacious inside. But it's not quite good enough to drive to be a sporty hatch, and it's not quite comfy enough to be a brilliant family hatch. You also need to be careful when picking which model, otherwise it gets a bit expensive. For help with that, search for Mercedes A-Class on whatcar.com.